Nottoway was a staple in White Castle. I mean, everyone from all over the world came here to tour Nottoway. Just the history. I mean, this was built, in the Civil War. It stood this whole time, and now to see it just burned down, it's really sad.
Everybody have their own opinions on Nottoway, but it is, it is White Castle. It's one of the biggest slave plantations in Louisiana. It's historical. As White Castle, we have to think about the people, who's providing for their families.
And look, I have to keep it 100 with y'all because a lot of people thought I was done with this topic, but hell no. But before I spaz out in this video, shout out to all my black people and shout out to the non-racist people and to the rest of you. If you don't like black people, you don't like black issues, if you don't like black talk, get the stepping. We had this Annabelle doll in New Orleans, and the whole state of Louisiana was in chaos the whole weekend. First, you had a mummified body found in Lakeview in New Orleans. Then you had 11 inmates that escaped a prison in New Orleans, and you still have some of them on the loose. I can really go on and on after they told them, whatever you do, do not move that doll. Run the tape. The do not move the Annabelle doll phrase is a clear instruction related to the haunted Annabelle doll, a Raggedy Ann doll that has been featured in Conjuring Universe films. The doll is believed to be possessed by a demonic entity named Malthus. Make that make sense. And then I ran into something so crazy on Facebook. This page called Plantations and Mansions. What the hell, you big dummy? And then I said, wait. Before I judge, let's read some of the posts. Check this out. And the first post comes from Nicole Tassin Wobble. She said, I feel absolutely heartbroken for the owners. Can you imagine losing not only the house, but all the beautiful historical items and the memories? At the same time, I'm kind of mad. Why in the world did they not install some type of sprinkler system? Was it not possible? I just can't understand it. I pray the other plantation owners will do everything they can do to not lose one more beautiful home. And then she said, edit. I have been told that the owners most probably had sprinklers in the house, but there was just not enough water pressure. If that is true, I apologize to the owners and their family members. That is even more heartbreaking for them. Even if that's not true, I apologize. We are just frustrated, but I know y'all are even more so. Make that make sense. First of all, Nicole, you said you frustrated. How you think the slaves felt having to work on their plantation? How you think the slaves felt having to die on their plantation? How you think the slaves felt when they was torn apart from their family members on their plantation? In my opinion, Nicole, we don't care if you frustrated. We don't give a damn if you frustrated. In my opinion, again, let it burn. And then we have Ron Gaylor. He said, if anyone hears about a GoFundMe effort by owners of Nottoway to help with rebuilding of the mansion, please let us know. I, for one, would gladly donate. Make that make sense. Well, Mr. Gaylor, I hate to break it down to you, but won't be no rebuilding, my boy. Run a tape.
The Nottoway Plantation in White Castle has been declared a total loss after a massive fire yesterday afternoon. Officials are now working to clear the remains of the historic site. Jordan Ponzio joins us live in Naperville Parish as that cleanup continues.
Brittany, it's now been over 24 hours since that fire started, and the fire marshal's office is here currently investigating the cause of that fire that completely destroyed the Nottoway Plantation mansion. That fire started a little after 2 p.m. yesterday in the south wing of the mansion. 10 different fire departments responded to the fire. After the first couple of hours, it seemed that it was contained until high winds caused it to re-spark. I was out here this morning through around 1 o'clock, and the White Castle Fire Department were still dousing the structure with water as hot spots kept arising. I spoke with the parish president, Chris Daigle, today, who said the 166-year-old plantation did not stand a chance against this blaze.
An old facility like this is that old cypress material, right? It's what the installations are built out of. And once something like this gets going, it's really hard to stop.
And I have to keep it 100 since they call themselves giving tours on their plantation. Let's pull out the index cards so we can give a real tour of Nottoway Plantation. And the first one we have is the slave bell. There's a slave bell on the grounds, yet there is little to no mention of the enslaved people who built this place. In some cases, while some enslaved people were given collars with bells to alert their owners when they were moving. Make that make sense. And the audacity for these people to turn a plantation to a resort and still have the slave bell on the property. These people are sick. And you have some people saying, oh, that fire, we lost our history in that fire. How? When these people do tours, they don't tell you the truth. They leave out the real facts. So in my opinion, I say, let it burn and shut up. And there's more. And on this grand tour, we got the next one, the slave treatment, the treatment of the slaves. At Nottoway Plantation, enslaved people were treated as property with no rights, a common practice in many colonial and antebellum settings. They were forced to perform labor and were subject to the whims of their owners. Enslaved individuals at Nottoway, like others in the South, could not testify in court, own property, gather in large groups, or be out at night without permission. Make that make sense. And I know a lot of people go ask me, did they at least fight back? Yes, they fought back, but your Caucasian education won't teach you that. Matter of fact, Louisiana has the largest slave revolt in U.S. history, but that's another video for another day because there's more. Huh? Speak up. Oh, where were the slaves buried? Check this out. The enslaved people at Nottoway Plantation were not buried in the Randolph Cemetery where the family's remains were re-entered. Nottoway Plantation does not have a recorded cemetery for the enslaved people. Slave quarters were located on the edge of the fields where enslaved people worked. Make that make sense. And just imagine how many of our ancestors are buried on that land unmarked, while these people have parties, while these people have weddings, events, acting like nothing ever happened. Well, look at them now. It's going to be a long summer for you demons. And I have to keep it 100 today. Everything, when I say everything, I mean everything. Everything is still the same. Why you think Governor Jeff Landry is trying to build more juvenile prisons? Because he needs the money and he needs the slaves. I told y'all the game is cold. And it all started off with Angola Plantation. See, a lot of people from Louisiana, from the South, don't even know Angola prison used to be a real life plantation. It's still a plantation. They just put the word prison on it. And in Louisiana, you can steal a jacket. They will railroad you. It could be your first charge, your second charge. They'll give you 30 years and not even think about it. They'll give you 30 years and go golfing. They'll give you 30 years and go hunting. They'll give you 30 years and go out to eat some seafood, eat some crawfish like it never happened. That's why being a content creator on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok from Louisiana, from the South is so important. It's so important for us because a lot of times people don't talk about the history. They just let it go. When something happens, then we start talking. No, we need more black content creators from the South putting this information out. It's so important. So as I end this video, again, thank you to the ancestors for burning this plantation down to the ground. The real get back gang. Ashe. And before I go, in the words of the magnificent Montague, burn, baby, burn.